Tonight, we sit down and have a conversation with Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Where are you guys from?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Down from the borough, or I guess in our case, it's up from the borough, direction-wise? Aside from the borough. That works as well. Introduce yourself and say what you do in the band.
Hey, my name's Tim. I'm the vocalist.
I'm Zach, and I'm the drummer.
I'm Jake, and I play bass.
And I'm Joel, and I play guitar.
The four of you have been together for how long as a band?
A year. A little over a
Just
year.
over, yeah.
Been playing long before that, or just decided a year ago, hey, let's see how this instrument thing works out?
We've been playing for a while.
We've all got plenty of background experience on our musical instruments and everything through our, basically, I guess, entire grade school, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, these three guys have been playing together or in different bands for a few years, and I was found on Craigslist.
Yep.
That's basically it.
What kind of music do you make?
Hard rock.
Hard rock.
Hard rock.
Just straight up. It's not any, you don't have any extra titles that go with that?
We try to keep it simple. We're not good at subgenres, so we just kind of keep it there.
What made you decide that that's the way you wanted to go?
Metal, there's so many different genres of it, and the variety of music that we play. We just wanted to go with something very generic and simple. So people who like that type of music will probably like our other stuff as well.
What kind of influences do you pull from?
Oh, goodness.
Biggest
Okay.
one's definitely Avenged Sevenfold.
That's for
A lot of us.
It's Sevenfold,
For 75% of the band.
Yeah.
Muse,
Shine Down, and a lot of the big bands
and then
out now.
Jake's all classical and jazz.
And you kind of mix all those together. You're giving yourself the umbrella topic of hard rock, but really you have some influences that shine through on that. And we're going to talk about those influences, how many songs they've gotten together, the music they've got behind them, and what they plan to do next as we sit and talk tonight with Conquer the Distance, the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. They've been a band basically about a year or so. Tonight, we meet with Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. I think we talked about earlier that you've been together in the form of Conquer the Distance for about a year or so. Originally, how did you start out doing music?
Well, when I was young, my father really just taught me a lot of stuff on piano, and from there, I entered into elementary school and middle school, high school bands. Just been playing since I was about 4 or 5 years old. That way, and I stopped for a few years because I wasn't able to find anybody I could play with until I found these guys.
Tim, how did you meet these guys?
Well, they found me on Craigslist. I had made a post, and about an hour later, Joel contacted me, and that was that.
Did the band already kind of exist and you were looking for one more member, or?
Well, we had previously formed with a female singer who she actually kind of got the band together somewhat. And then she moved and relocated, and I wanted to keep the band moving. So I just put ads out on Craigslist. And then after about 20 terrible singers, I finally got Tim. So
Joel, how long have you been playing music?
about 10 years. Well, the guitar, 10 years. I've been playing drums before that, maybe about 3 or 4 years before that.
How did you go from drums to guitar?
Well, I drummed, and we had about 10 drummers in our pep band and not a single guitarist. And my dad played guitar, so he taught me the open chords, and then I just kind of took it from there and just taught myself.
In a land of drummers, the man with guitar is king.
Yep. I was tired of battling with
corny.
everybody else.
Jake, what about you? How did you come into this?
When I was born, they handed me a guitar. No, I'm just no, but, I wanted to join band. My dad's a musician. He's like, you're going to play in band when you start middle school. And I was like, okay, cool. And then my grades in other categories started to falter because I was like, I love this. But I played clarinet, and I was like, I hate this thing. And he's like, I want to play guitar. And he's like, well, play bass. And I'm like, I don't even know what bass is, but okay, let's do it. And so I started with a jazz band like that, and I've been playing bass ever since.
Scale of going from clarinet to bass?
I mean, I hated the clarinet with a passion, so I was like, okay, I'll do this. And then they made me do it for 3 years after that and play bass. But when I started playing bass, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is better. I stopped playing clarinet altogether.
Zach, drums. How did you get there?
Let's see, I guess I was probably about 5 or 6, and I played drum set for the first time, and I loved it. I just played all through school and did a lot of drum line in high school, some in college.
I thought maybe there was a story about how your parents figured out after you destroyed all their pans, maybe they should get you a drum kit.
Yeah.
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
That was me. I destroyed all of our cushions on our couch and our pillows, so they bought me a drum set.
That explains why they gave you the guitar, so that you would no longer have the drum set.
Yeah, they can turn down the guitar.
They just kind of put me in the garage and locked the door. So.
Well, you picked him up from Craigslist. The four of you have come together, and I think we established earlier you just wanted to be able to play straightforward rock. So that was an easy decision for the band to make. Is that how you look at it when you're writing your songs? Do you decide, okay, it has to be this simple, or?
I don't know. I feel like the songs have actually been getting more difficult and more different as we've progressed. Not on the 5 that we have recorded on our EP, but as we've been writing more stuff, it's just kind of ever changing. I don't feel like we have a simple formula to it, it's just
kind of like if we like it, we just keep going with it. And if not, we scrap it.
I think the only rule we might have is that we want it to sound different than our other songs in some way.
Yeah, we don't want them all to blend together. If we're playing live, we want people to differentiate each song.
Well, you have one that stands out a little bit because it's got a siren in it.
Yeah.
Infected, is that a throwback to like Sabbath? Is that a tip of the hat to?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Kind of shines through a little. We'll share that with you now. It's Infected. It's Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we're sitting down to have a conversation with Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. 4-piece band. Introduce yourself. Say what you do in the band.
Hey, I'm Tim. I'm the vocalist.
I'm Zach. I'm the drummer.
I'm Jake. I play bass.
I'm Joel, and I play guitar.
About a year into this project now, you've got an EP. You said a 5-song EP. How long's that been out?
Oh, goodness.
We released it on August 26th.
So it came out over the summer, and you've really kind of been pushing to support that. But you're already talking about writing more material.
Oh, yeah.
So is that just one of those things where, well, we've gotten the songs together, and it was just finally getting them recorded? Or did you look at the EP and go, we need to wait a while before we do anything else?
Well, we didn't want to release a full-length album out of the gate. I think we had about 12 songs, and we just picked 5 out of the 12 to record. And now we're just kind of working on the next EP, which we haven't decided if it's going to be a 5-track, a 7-track, or a full length or anything like that.
I think that would be my next question. Are you leaning more towards sticking with the EP route, or are you thinking of going longer album route?
Probably EP route.
Yeah.
To be honest.
For now, just trying to get our names out there and get people to know who we are and just have music out there for them to understand.
Putting that one together was a trial run, kind of give you a sampling of what it would be like to do that. So was the prospect of putting those 5 and deciding these are going to be the key songs that we want to be out and support, was that an easy process or complicated?
I think it was actually a harder process naming the EP than it was picking the songs. We thought about that forever.
We spent about 24 hours naming the EP.
The EP, yeah.
And the final EP name, by the way?
Just keep it classy.
Keep it classy. So how did you decide on that one?
It's actually the title of one of our songs. I don't want to call it the title track of the song, but we really just like the name of the song.
Yeah.
I thought for sure there was going to be a story about how somebody got strapped into a chair and forced to watch Anchorman over and over until they finally gave in.
The Anchorman did come up. We were going to put a mustache on the front cover art, but we're like, nah.
Yeah.
So are you already having meetings about what the next thing's going to be called, just to make sure there's no problem?
No.
Not quite yet.
Not quite sure.
We'll cross that bridge when we
We'll just call it ... something like that.
I think you said your songwriting has progressed a little more since you put together that EP.
Sure.
So what exactly is progressing with it?
It's a little more complicated, I suppose, now. Maybe a little bit more progressive with some of our music. We keep it hard rock in the choruses for sure. But as for verses, we tend to try to write something like the verse will be one part the first time, and the second time will be completely different.
When it comes to structuring it, it sounds like you put a little into it. What about the lyrics? How do those come about?
I also like to tell a story whenever we're writing a song, whether that be political or a love song, anything like that, as long as it flows smoothly into a storyline.
Worst topic you've ever written about for a song?
Bandcamp?
Yeah, and Sick Puppies stole that song. Just throw that out
We lost
there.
that one.
They stole it from
That was a fantastic song that they made.
No.
I don't like our version anymore.
Of the topics that you have tackled, what would you say was your best topic?
For me, I mean, I've helped write lyrically to a few things, and one of the tracks I sent you was Too Far Gone. I wrote that about my disabled sister. So that one comes really close to home for me. But I mean, it's funny is that we have another track called Identity that I wrote for my other sister, but as she's a screenwriter and she writes different plays or whatnot. And so I actually wrote her a musical, and that one's about just a psychopath killing people. So, I mean, that one's kind of dark. So I guess that's my darkest one that I've written.
I was going to mention that.
Where does It Doesn't Matter land?
Was that the first song that we wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was the first song we wrote. It was kind of
Anti-PC. We just get annoyed with all the people getting heard about everything. So we're just saying it doesn't matter. Just move on and live your life.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
To Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Continuing our conversation tonight as we sit down with Conquer the Distance, the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've had a chance to hear a couple of your songs. You can find those up online, just like you can how to be on this show. Go to our website at rock937online.com. All the details about that and how you can submit one of your songs, too. You guys went that route, said one of your songs. You're playing down around the borough. You said you're from Murfreesboro. So do you do the house show down there?
I'm trying to get tied into it. It's been, with us only being together for about a year now, it's been kind of hard getting into some venues just because we just haven't been around long enough.
That's one of the interesting things about music that comes out of Murfreesboro. We've had a couple of other bands that have come in, the Acorn people,
Okay, yep.
and talked to them a time or two. They've got the house thing set up to where I think it's like on Friday nights or on the weekends or whatever, people come in and do the whole house thing.
Yep.
So I didn't know if you had your own established house or you crashed somebody else's house?
Well, we were actually supposed to play some Halloween house show coming up, but just didn't work out. So that was going to be our first house show, but it's just Murfreesboro has actually been really hard to get a show into. Nashville's easy, but Murfreesboro we've only played one show in the borough actually.
I was going to ask if there was a difference in trying to book the venues, if you've noticed how harder it is to get into different places.
Yep.
What's the furthest place that you guys have played so far?
Atlanta?
was that Atlanta or Birmingham?
Well, they're both 3 hours. They're
both about
about
the
3
same.
hours. Atlanta and Birmingham.
Yeah.
So you've traveled to Atlanta, you've traveled to Birmingham.
Right.
Any place that you would like to travel to that you haven't yet?
New York City, Madison Square Garden.
Las Vegas.
I believe they have street performers there, so you could pull off.
No.
Philadelphia.
Not in front of Madison Square.
Big cities, I guess, around the nation. Just
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to branch out right now. We're just trying to hit a certain, 3-hour radius around where we are to just branch out to get our name out there and then slowly kind of spread out through the states. That's the hope, I guess.
still say we should do the free CD thing where we just drop our CDs in random cities and say free CDs.
Just take them.
How often do you guys perform?
4 to 5 times a month, typically.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's actually a lot of performing.
Yeah.
So,
We might oversaturate ourselves a little bit, but we just want to play.
We're just
And-
trying to get people talking as fast as possible, I think, when we can slow down a little bit.
Exactly. We got to build a fan base first before we can oversaturate ourselves. Because if nobody knows who we are, they aren't going to come out to the show regardless of how often we play,
single bill shows, or do you play with other bands? or?
We haven't played a single bill show yet.
not a
We have a
single
show
yet.
coming up on Tuesday with 6 bands. So they're big lineups usually.
Well, actually, we had those acoustic shows that we played.
Okay.
I guess they can call those a single bill show.
True. Yeah, we did acoustic.
So you do shows with several other bands, and you've done, I think you said acoustic shows to where you've had the chance to just be you. Do you like having the other bands, or do you
We
feed
become-
off of their energy?
Yeah, a lot of the time we do. We've become really good friends with a lot of the bands that we've played with, and making those connections is very important.
Yeah, like networking and getting to know the scene. And
Their styles have any impact on yours? When you go see a band, you're like, oh, why aren't we doing that?
Not
for
really.
me, as a guitarist, as analyzing other guitarists, yes, there's been a few bands that have had some influence on me.
But also, most of the bands we play with are different genre entirely every
Yeah.
time. It's always either metal or I don't even know. What
No,
else.
it's usually that's what it is.
It's usually metal, yeah.
We're usually playing with deathcore bands, and then we're the only band with vocals. Usually, not always.
Well, you've got another single that I want to get to tonight. This is also on the EP that we talked about earlier. Keep It Classy. This is Too Far Gone.
That was the one that I had written about my disabled sister, and I just kind of put it together on the acoustic and brought it to the guys. And
Well, it's the final product of Too Far Gone. It's Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Over the last couple of hours, we've had a chance to get to know more about Conquer the Distance tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Again, I want to thank you guys for making the trip from Murfreesboro. That's their normal stopping grounds. I think we talked about you get out and perform a lot. 4 to 5, I think you said like 4 to 5 times a month. So do you book any shows around Cookeville or?
trying to, just trying to branch out. And I've contacted a few venues in Cookeville, but just nothing's taken.
In the process of getting closer to this area, for now, they can make the journey up to see you. You have shows coming up, 4 to 5 a month. I'm sure you have something not too far off. Where can they find those at?
They can find them on our Facebook page. We've got all the events on there. And We have Instagram and Twitter and everything like that, but Facebook's our most active.
Do you guys have a website too where you host anything?
Not right now, just all working through Facebook.
What about your music? Is that EP available on there? Or?
Yeah, it's available on iTunes, Spotify, Facebook, Reverb Nation, everything like that.
All right, so you can find their music online. You can find where they're going to be at online. The only thing you need to do is get yourself online. Go check out their Facebook page, Conquer the Distance, and you can follow them there. Thank you guys again so much for coming in to talk with us.
It's a pleasure.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
It's been a conversation tonight with Conquer the Distance on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7.